So what is going on, Dork Squad? Have you ever wondered why some people hate your favorite season of Ninjago? Yeah, me too. So I thought today it would be fun to actually go and read some of those negative reviews for some of my favorite seasons of the show and give my thoughts on why this review is or isn't valid and see if any of them change my opinion on some of my favorite seasons. And just as a quick point of reference, all these reviews are coming from the app Serialize, which is essentially like Letterboxd for TV shows, and you can go follow me on there, just literally Garmadork. This isn't a sponsored segment or anything. This is just where I found the reviews. I use this quite a lot to review my own TV shows, so go follow me on there if you end up using the app, and don't send any hate to these reviews. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the reviews. So why not start off with a season that it is almost impossible to hate, that being Sons of Garmadon. From Dragon Egg Films with a half-star review, from here on in the series just gets horrible and I can never put myself to watch any more of it. I've never understood the take that Sons of Garmadon especially is a horrible season and Hands of Time was the last good season of Ninjago. I think that is just purely people blinded by nostalgia and the love for the old designs and that weird hate that there is towards the movie designs. We all know what side of the fan base I'm talking about, and it definitely seems like one of those fans wrote this review specifically. And honestly, not much to say about this review because that is all they said, but the next review we have here goes quite in depth into their thoughts. Ninjago Sons of Garmadon is a bold reinvention for the long-running LEGO series. Season 8 shakes up the quo with a darker tone, more serialized storytelling, and a full visual redesign of the main ninja team, aligning them with the LEGO Ninjago movie. While these changes energize the show for new audiences, they don't always land smoothly, especially for longtime fans. Okay, so right off the bat, we can already tell that this is someone who seems to be a fan of the show, and I'm very excited to hear why they only gave 3 stars to this season. Now, that's not a terrible score, but that is the second lowest score I could find for Sons of Garmadon, which truthfully just says how peak this season is. The season kicks off with a mystery heist plot involving the titular Sons of Garmadon, a biker gang obsessed with resurrecting Lord Garmadon using 3 Oni masks. It's a more mature story with higher stakes, introducing new threats and deeper lore. The villains feel more dangerous than in the past, and there's a real sense that the ninjas are outmatched. Harumi, a new character with a tragic backstory, adds layers to the conflict, though her heel turn might feel a bit abrupt for some viewers. Okay, so cutting in here again, they clearly have a good understanding of Sons of Garmadon, although I do want to immediately disagree and say that the twist of Harumi was really well done in my opinion. My only complaint with it was that the ninja figured it out and it was revealed in an episode before we got the actual reveal scene, which kind of removes some of the weight from the scene, although the scene is just so excellent on its own, which kind of does make it hurt more that that wasn't the first reveal. But if you were a fan at the time and watching it weekly, almost everybody kind of figured out that it was Harumi. There was tons of hints throughout. I don't think it was that abrupt of a change in my opinion. Visually, the season looks slicker with improved animation, more cinematic shots, and a darker, cold palette. But the redesigns of the main ninja, especially Lloyd, are jarring. Gone are the familiar, expressive faces of previous seasons, replaced by movie-style looks that feel less emotive and more corporate. Again, I'm gonna cut in here and say I completely disagree with this point. I think the movie designs have a lot more personality than the original designs in the show, and honestly, some of them really do just look like aged up versions of the ninja. I especially like Lloyd's design so much more than the one we had in the original series. Nostalgia aside, it's really not that great of a design and is pretty basic and reminds me of just a regular minifigure like a lot of these, whereas the movie designs felt tailored to the character specifically. Except for Zane, I don't know what they did to him. For younger viewers or those who are just joining in, it might not matter, but for fans who followed since day one, it can feel disconnected. Again, I kind of want to disagree with this. As someone who was there when this huge change happened and all this stuff came out from Comic-Con, we got the poster, we got the little clip at the actual panel. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong, it was absolutely insane and a little definitely jarring, and like it took getting used to seeing the ninjas in this new way, but how they explained it it in the show, how good the suits looked for Sons of Garmadon, and don't even get me started on the new voice for Lloyd. I was really excited at the time, and I really liked the movie designs, especially because Jay really reminded me of myself at that time, especially given the looks, so I loved the new redesigns, but maybe it was just a bias because they low-key stole my cut for Jay. Thematically, Sons of Garmadon explores a legacy, loss, and identity. Lloyd takes center stage, grappling with his father's return in a twisted, villainous form. It's compelling material, but not all of it gets the breathing room it deserves. Some character arcs like Kai or Nia's feel undercooked, sidelined in favor of plot momentum. You know, honestly, I can kind of see that. I feel some of the characters might have gotten sidelined for Lloyd's bigger story, although I feel like every character got a great moment in Sons of Garmadon, especially when I'm looking at it, Nia and Kai. Nia especially with the moment on the Destiny's Bounty, and Kai had that funny moment with Harumi where they're about to get on.
We'll have to get all ninja up on ya!
What does that even mean?
I thought that was a pretty fun moment for Kai, and I'm definitely trying my hardest to defend Sons of Garmadon here, but I can understand where they're coming from with that point specifically. In the end, Season 8 deserves credit for taking creative risks. It injects Ninjago with fresh energy and sets up high stakes for the future, but its tonal shift, character changes, and uneven focus make it a more mixed bag. A solid 3 out of 5, worth watching, especially if you're committed to the broader Ninjago saga, but not quite the series at its best. This review, and especially that last bit there, is also a mixed bag for me, because I do agree with some of the points there, and I honestly think a 3 out of 5 isn't the worst score you could give it. It's definitely the lowest review and score I've seen besides the previous one, which was only a half star, which is vile in my opinion. But I would say that this was absolutely Ninjago at its best. Sons of Garmadon is still the best season yet to be dethroned by any Ninjago content. Next up, another one of my all-time favorite seasons is Ninjago Seabound. It's how I started this channel, specifically doing reviews and reactions to that season, so it does hold a special place in my heart, as well as Nia is one of my favorite characters, and that ending was just beautiful. So what do people have to say about it? Starting off with a 1-star review for the season by the same person who did just review Season 8, so you know it's gonna be a bit of a stacked review. Ninjago Seabound promised an epic underwater adventure, but what we got was a messy, uninspired season that forgets everything that made earlier Ninjago great. If this was meant to be a tribute to Nia or a bold new chapter, it fails on both fronts, sinking under its own lack of direction. Immediately, I don't see any of what this review is talking about. For me, Seabound was an absolutely perfect season with really good pacing, a really strong story with Nia. The only problems I could see is that one episode with the news people, although that wasn't even that bad because we did have Kai and Cole and Wu. See, look what Dragon's Rising is doing to me. I forgot Cole existed. Let's start with the pacing. This season rushes through major plot points like it's late for a meeting. One moment Nia is dealing with water powers, and the next she is basically becoming a goddess of the sea. There's no emotional build-up, no real struggle, just a checklist of plot developments that feel more obligatory than earned. Her transformation into the ocean itself feels okay, I'm gonna stop you right here. I was letting you try and get your point across with some of that, but I'm gonna stop you right there. The sacrifice scene for Nia is one of the best scenes in the entirety of the Ninjago franchise. It is filled with emotion, gorgeous animation, and beautiful music, and has been built up over the past 11 years at that point. To say that there is no emotional build-up when at the time it was told to us that this sacrifice was absolutely permanent, and this would mean Nia leaving the team, and a character that we've seen from the beginning, I think that is an absolutely outlandish take to say that there was no emotional build-up to Nia's sacrifice. We had built up the idea of Nia the entire season. Wojira had even been a thought since Season 8, as well as, again, Nia was a character that was with us since the pilots. And on the point of her becoming a water goddess, I mean, yeah, she literally becomes a god once she merges with the sea, but throughout the entire season, she's had Maya there to kind of teach her how to use the water powers, plus she is literally in her element, which in Master of the Mountain, it was established the more you are to the core of your element, the stronger you become. Unless I'm crazy and I'm just making that up. Someone will surely let me know down below. Because the writers didn't take the time to develop her arc meaningfully, it's not character growth, it's narrative convenience. I'm just gonna outright say, go watch Bendo Brick's video right there. It was a phenomenal video and explains exactly why this point is total crap. The villain Kalmar is a cartoonish stereotype with no depth, pun intended. He's evil for the sake of being evil, and despite his royal status and magical squid monster allies, he never feels threatening. Didn't Kalmar literally kill his dad in his introduction scene? Yo, he just really killed his dad like that? What? Like, are we talking about the same villain here? Yes, Kalmar's motivation does just kind of boil down to racism and evil for the sake of being evil, but I think that's kind of what makes Kalmar a fun villain, is that he is just evil for the love of the game and because he doesn't like the surface dwellers. I don't know, it's kind of a fun difference from some of the other Ninjago villains that have a tie to Wu or the pure incarnation of darkness, and this guy is just doing it because he wants to do it. It's for the love of the game. I think that made him a fun and honestly a more dangerous villain. This guy was willing to off his dad. He had no limits. Kalmar was awesome, and I do hope we see him return in Dragon's Rising. I already disagree with so much of this review, and there is so much more. I'm gonna leave it up here, but I completely disagree with every take from this review. A 1-star review for Seabound is absolutely vile, and I don't think it should be taken seriously. Terrible review. Our next review comes in with 2 stars, saying, did a lot for Nia's character. The ending was stunning but had no weight whatsoever after Crystallized undid her sacrifice and was basically never mentioned again. The king was cool, neat season. Okay, I agree with almost all of this review. I do feel that Crystallized has had a huge impact on the rewatchability of Seabound, especially that final moment with Nia. But the season on its own, which is what we're really looking at here in these reviews, I disagree with all of this, and 2 stars is still very, very low in my opinion for a season of this quality. I can completely understand the walk back after Crystallized. I even had that a little bit, but I think for me, I just love this season so much that it doesn't bother me anymore. And our last review for Seabound is also with 2 stars, just saying that the final is so sad. I don't know what part about that consists for the 2-star rating, so I can't really say much here other than 2 stars is very, very low. Okay, next up we have a season that is very hated in the community, and I can understand a lot of the negative points on this, but I love this season to death, and that is Rebooted. Our first 2-star review is actually in a different language, but luckily it's able to be translated, so what do people from across the world think of Ninjago Rebooted? I love Zane, and Lloyd was a lot of work here, and the animation improved considerably. I'm gonna assume they mean Lloyd did a lot here, or Lloyd was a lot of the season, but what a shit season. This love triangle is one of the worst ever. I think we can all agree that the love triangle definitely did not help this season at all. The season doesn't know where it's going, introduces a lot of things that are just discarded or simply don't work, and they kept the Overlord as a villain, which is just so boring. This season is so bad that it made me drop the cartoon in my childhood. I only went back to watch it because I saw that the season is unanimously considered the worst among fans, and everyone loves what comes next, so I gave it a chance. I mean, honestly, there's not a lot I can disagree. Rebooted, for as much as I love it, was quite a messy and cluttered season with a whole bunch of just things that they dropped in there because they thought it might work, and using the Overlord as the big bad was such a cool concept. While I did enjoy the stuff with the Overlord, I would have much rathered a brand new tech-focused villain rather than just the Overlord again, which also means that, like, was the prophecy right? Because wasn't Lloyd supposed to defeat him, and how did Zane get all the gold energy? So there is a lot wrong with season 8, so I really don't have a lot to disagree with, although I think a 1.5 stars is a little bit low, but with all the problems, I can't say I blame this review. Another review coming in at a 1.5 stars in another language. Weak season in general and a horrible whip, but Zane's sacrifice is one of the top moments. I don't really have anything to disagree with here. I do think Zane's sacrifice was one of the highlights of this season, although I think one of the biggest highlights for me is that we really do get a story with just the OG4 ninja on their own journey, although we granted also get that in a much better way in Season 5, but I still think it's a lot of fun in Season 3, and the suits are amazing. Plus, I think The Surge is one of the greatest episodes of all time. And another review coming in at 1.5 stars is bad production leads to a bad production. I'm not really sure what the production story was with Rebooted, so I can't really comment on this, but I do know it had a absolutely terrible airing schedule, airing 8 episodes spread across like a year and a half. And for our last review for Rebooted with 2.5 stars, almost 3 stars, which is kind of crazy given the comments of this review, you would think would be much lower. Warning to all 2000s kids, do not look back. Jesus Christ, it's not worth it. Okay, I don't think this season is this bad at all, but we can clearly see that a lot of people don't like Rebooted, and I gotta say, this was the easiest season to find negative reviews for. A lot of the seasons, I honestly had trouble finding them, but Rebooted, man, people just don't like it. I understand it, but I think it's so much of a fun season that if you just kind of sit back and ignore its problems, you're gonna have a fun time. And lastly, here is the most recent season of Ninjago, and one that I just posted my review for a couple days ago. If you haven't seen it, go check that out, by the way. But this is obviously Dragons Rising Season 3. There is also quite a lot of negative reviews for this one. A lot of people didn't like it, but also a lot of people liked it. So let's take a look at some of the negative review. Moro is back. Thunderfang is done incredibly dirty. Prismatic blades are effectively useless. Actually, a stupid premise. One of them looks inexplicably different and broke when it hit a person. Like, actually, what were the writers doing? 2 stars. A lot of valid points. I personally really liked the prismatic blades. Moro coming back was a highlight of this season, and yeah, Thunderfang was done incredibly dirty, so not really much I can disagree with on this review, other than I personally thought the prismatic blades were kind of cool, at least the way they looked. Specifically the ones from part 2, the ones from part 1, just I don't know. Another 2-star review coming in here is the Dragons Rising falloff is insane. The season was mid as heck. Eren and Ra's subplot is good, but flawed in areas. Why is everybody hating on the prismatic blades? Like, they look cool. Why did they limit the fetch quest to one? That's a very, very, very good complaint, is that for the whole concept of Dragons Rising being the merging of all these realms and everything, really, we're only spending a lot of the time in one realm or 2 realms per seasons, which does look to be changing in Season 4. It looks like we're gonna have multiple groups in different realms, which is what I'm literally complaining about. So I don't even know why I'm complaining about this, because they're solving the problem in the next season, but I understand that point for the first 3 seasons. I would have liked to have seen more realms in those seasons. None of the ninja do anything interesting. They may as well be extras. I like Sora though. Zane sucks as usual. Forbidden 5 thugs. Thunderfang mid. Haven't seen 19 and 20 yet, but I doubt they will change my mind on any of this. You're definitely not gonna like the rest of the season, I'll tell you that for sure. Although, to say the ninja did absolutely nothing, I wouldn't say is very true. Unless we don't count Jay, then, I mean, the ninja did, you know, they also, but the ninja, they also did. And the last review we're going to be taking a look at today actually includes some positives, but we're going to ignore that, because who wants to read anything positive in the Big 25? Certainly not me. But I will put the positives up here if you guys do want to check them out. And if you guys want to see me doing a video reading positive reviews for my favorite Ninjago seasons, let me know down below, because I'm really curious on what the positive reviews are for Rebooted, because a lot of people hate it. A lot. But getting into this person's negatives for Dragons Rising Season 3, the Forbidden 5 and Thunderfang were so washed. Again, a completely valid point. The 5 were set up to be such deadly villains, yet they only acted as Thunderfang's henchmen, and don't even get me started on Thunderfang. He did absolutely nothing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut off the review here, because all of this is just stuff I got into in my review, and a whole bunch of other reviews. It seems like the big problem with this season is just no time to do anything, and absolutely wasted potential on really good good characters, having them just ultimately sit around and do absolutely nothing. I think honestly this is the most fair review, giving a balance of positives and negatives, as well as 3.5, almost 4 stars is a pretty solid score and fair for this season if I'm being honest. But alright, Dork Squad, that is it. What do you guys think of these seasons and of these reviews? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I would love to hear all your thoughts down below, and full credit to 3C Films for this video idea. I did forget to bring that up in the beginning of the video, but this is based off of the series he's done with horror movies that I thought would be fun to do for Ninjago seasons. Let me know if you want to see another one of these videos down below, and thank you to my wonderful channel members for supporting the channel and videos just like this. If you guys would like to support the channel for only 99 cents a month, be sure to click that join button down below, but if not, a subscribe or comment helps out just as much. Once again, thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.